Alpha channels are very similar to masks. They're basically an image with a mask embedded into the image. So you use them the same as masks, but you can get the image that you're using to work with the mask, and you're only using one file. So they can kind of work the same way. Sometimes we use masks, sometimes we use alpha channels. For the most part, alpha channels will give you more flexibility, though, once you get to know how to use them. I've got a tank model here. There's no textures on the tank model. I'll go ahead and render it. I've rendered it with a blue background, so we'll be able to see the alpha channels once we get them on. And I've got these planes that I've added, and what I want is a grid or like a metal mesh built into these planes here. I'm going to close this and hop over to Photoshop. In Photoshop, I've got a texture map all ready to go. I've included a few texture maps in my folder for you that you can use. There's this one, and this one. If you want to use them on your vehicles, they'll all work the same way as what I'm doing here. Now you'll notice back over in Max, I've got long skinny planes, so I'm going to make a long skinny image. And all I really need is this section right here. So I'm going to use my crop tool and crop that section out of the original piece. Alright, I'm also going to rotate this so that it will fit into what I'm trying to do. I'm going to select the whole thing and go to Transform, and I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, whoops, wrong place. I'm going to go to Image, Rotate Canvas, if I go to the right thing, 90 degrees clockwise, and that's going to make it go sideways, which is what I want. Okay, now I need a alpha channel slot so that I can start making the alpha channel. I go over here under Channels, and I click this little guy and say Make New Channel. You can also go down here and do it. And it's going to be an alpha by default. We want masked areas selected. The color is here. Red will work just fine for us. And I'm going to say Go to that. Here's my alpha channel. You can see that if I highlight all my color channels, I can see what I need to block out through this red that is the alpha channel. And you can turn the alpha channel on and off with these little eyeballs here. So we're under the Channels tab now. I'm going to zoom in here just so I can get a better look at what I'm working on here. And I'm going to go get a paintbrush for this that's got a hard edge to it. So something like this one. See, no fuzziness around the edges? That one will work fine for what I need. I'm going to place it over the area I want to mask out, which is these little capsule-shaped openings. And I'm going to make my brush slightly bigger so that it will fit in there. Now I'm not using my tablet again on this. And I'm going to go over here to my brush tool. And let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to brush out. The white areas are what are going to be solid. So I need to, let's see, if I brush those out, brush that in, that's what I want to do. Okay, I'm just playing here. I'm going to go to the white, and I'm going to actually erase all of this out, or you can fill the channel with white, either way, so that I don't have anything alpha channeled at this point, so no red. I'm going to switch over to my black. That's the area that's going to be removed. Remember, black is see-through, white is solid. So now with black, my paintbrush, my solid brush that fits in this little area, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm just going to drag down in each of these. I'm going to do about 2 of them here to start with. I got to click to set it in this area first. Drag that down. There we go. That'll work pretty well. once I do a couple of these, I can select them and hold down Control Alt, and I can move them over into the next slot like so. There we go. That'll work. And I'm holding down Control Alt and dragging. It's just making a clone. You could draw these in if you want, and if you're using a different image map, it may not work as well for some of the other image maps. That's fine. This guy here needs to scoot over a little bit. There we go. And I think it'll work a little bit better from here on out if I just use one of these guys. Then we go to Move, Control Alt, and I'm just going to set it into each of those openings there. You can also use your arrow keys if you need to get something more exact. So that's pretty close to what we need. I've got one more over here. And I think I'm going to save that one where it is. And I think I'm going to actually color this guy out as well on this side. There we go. Because I don't need that covered. Okay. And if I zoom out, you'll see that I've got an alpha channel here that's going to block out all those middle areas. If I go back and select layers, double check to make sure we have one layer here. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'll save this one so that you can use it. It's going to be called, we'll call it, what are we using? Practice. We're going to call it Practice A. There we go. So it's called Alpha Practice _ 03A. Look at that. Now when this window comes up, I'm using Targas. They work well, but you'll need to make whatever format you're using 32-bit. BMPs work well. DDS files will work well. Some files don't work as well. Those will work fine. But it has to be able to save as 32 bits. And I'll say OK. Now I'm going to go back over to Max. There we go. I'm going to go to my Material Editor, pick an empty shader. Go to Maps. First I'm going to load the diffuse color, which is the same map I just made. And it's this one. There we go. That's it right there. You can see it's actually showing through there. That'll work all right. I'm looking here to make sure my settings are okay. I'm going to click None under my my alpha source, and you can see that if I drag this over here, and we'll say to show it in the viewport, I'll drag it to both of them so you can see it, and render it. Well, that's good. Let's get a light on it real quick. I didn't put a light in the scene. Got a camera in the scene, I just don't have a light in the scene. Okay. That'll work a little bit better. Move this guy off a little bit. Alright, so I'll render this guy, and you'll see that we have that texture stuck on the side of it. There's nothing to see through. Now, if we go back to our Material Editor, and what I clicked off before was this one, where it says None. If I click RGB Intensity or Image Alpha, you'll see that it's using the alpha in the image, this one, not RGB Intensity, I skipped that. Image Alpha, you can see that it's showing through to the gray, which was the color of the material that it's on. And now you'll see that the gray is showing through, but it's not see-through. So we've made a decal, but it's not a see-through alpha channel. That's not what we wanted. That's why I'm going to put this back down to None. You'll see it change back. Now I'll go back up to my main area here where I can get to my maps. Click on Opacity and click bitmap again, go load our map, or you could just drag the map from the other channel down. And in this one, I'm going to, let's see, we've got image alpha there. I'm going to click this button here, which is alpha under mono channel output. And what that's going to allow it to do, now if I render it, you'll see these areas are see-through. And that's what we want. So now we've created an alpha channel for our tank, and the image part of it that we spent time making will add to that object looking like something, and we can kind of work with them both together. So mask alpha channels, very similar, but two different things, and how you use them is really up to you. But alpha channels will probably give you the flexibility of both, where masks don't always do that.